Hey, Dr. Isaac Jones here, and we're going to talk about what a high-performing doctor's calendar looks like, right? If you give somebody that's not successful a task to do, they don't get it done. If you give a really busy, successful, multimillionaire entrepreneur something to do, they get it done. Why? Because of their calendar, right? What goes in your calendar is what actually determines the revenue that you make in a year. What goes in your calendar will determine the trajectory of the level of success that you will create inside of your business, the results that even you get with your health participants. I invest heavily into learning the most advanced health education and business education every single year. I always have a mentor. I always have a coach. I have somebody that can help me through learning what it will take to get to the next level. And ultimately, that's important. But what's most important, you could go to these seminars. You could learn all of this amazing information. If it doesn't get in your calendar, it doesn't get done. So what are these high-performing doctors in the virtual space that I've coached and trained over the years? What does it look like that they have completely created this amazing, 6, 7, 8-figure type businesses that are scaling through the moon, and really some of the most successful, fastest growing natural health businesses? What do these calendars look like? So let's get clear first off on what type of doctor we're talking about. So my calendar in particular, it's looked a lot different than it did 11 years ago. It looks a lot different even than it did 5 years ago. And we work with a lot of doctors across the board. We work with a lot of medical doctors, a lot of surgeons that are coming into Health Experts Alliance, and family doctors, and even PhDs. We've got a lot of chiropractors and naturopaths that are starting to learn from us and that have learned from us over the years. But ultimately, these doctors, end up creating very similar calendars, right? No matter what their background is in helping people, that end up generating the type of success that we're getting. We want you to establish a really great calendar that gets amazing results with the patients, that makes your health participants, my word for patients, very happy, and it gets them really great results. But it also creates an environment of performance for you and your practice members, including yourself, right? So everyone wins. Your health participants win, your practice, team wins, as well as you will end up winning, because you'll have freedom. You'll be able to generate a lot of momentum in your calendar, and et cetera. So a few critical pieces that make a dream kind of schedule work. This doesn't happen by chance. You have to really premeditate the perfect day and put things in place to actually make this, happen. But you ultimately want to block off. The number one thing that you want to do is block off vacations in advance. So if I want to take 2 months of the year off, then I block off those 2 months of the year. That's what I typically do. So I will block off the 2 weeks off here, the 1 week off there, the 3-day vacation here, the 4-day vacation here, all in advance. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're a doctor, if you don't do that from the get-go, then ultimately business can bleed into your calendar, and it ultimately eats up a lot of the free time and rejuvenation that you talk about. One of my mentors, his name's Mark Timm. He wrote the book Mentor to Millions with Kevin Harrington, the founder of Shark Tank. And what Mark Timm said yesterday in a call that I had with him, he said, if you're not sharpening your axe, you're not going to be as productive as you can. And he used this analogy of two people chopping down a tree, and one person doesn't take time to relax and rejuvenate, and the other person takes time to relax, sharpen the axe, and then come back to the tree, and he's chopping down way more trees than the other guy who doesn't take any breaks because he's burned out, his axe is dull, and he doesn't take time to really sharpen that axe and give himself some R&R. You need to figure out, what are platinum vacations for you? What's a gold vacation for you? What is a silver vacation for you? What is, on your free time, where you're rejuvenating, what does it look like for you at the highest level to rejuvenate? For me, I love going on vacation with kids. However, for me, a 3-day vacation in a spa facility by myself, right? That is like a platinum level vacation for me. I'm just hanging out at the beach. I'm getting some self-care done, and I'm reading books, and I'm napping. You may be like, oh, that's really nice for you. That's not going to happen for me. But if you thought that, look at the possibility of you creating that for your future, because you can do that. And what we're saying right now is that you just have to premeditate vacations in advance. And I'm talking about block them out a year in advance, a year and a half in advance, and stay on top of your calendar as you go. Every quarter, kind of look ahead at the next quarter of the next year and keep on planning ahead. Or if you want to do it every 6 months, you can do that. But this is an essential way that our doctors, are able to take so much time off while they're still maximizing profitability and productivity in their business, because they premeditate it. The next thing is work in 90-day sprints. So let yourself work like a modern day athlete, right? The modern day athlete is like an entrepreneurial athlete. They work in 90-day sprints, and then they take some time off to rejuvenate. If you look at an athlete that's preparing for the Olympics, they're working hard. They compete at the Olympics, and then they take time off, right? And this is the way that entrepreneurs and doctors and health professionals should also behave. We work in 90-day sprints. We take time off at the end of those 90 days, or maybe you create something similar, but you work in sprints, and then you can enjoy some time off afterwards. And if you do this for your team as well, they will forever be thankful and grateful, and you will create a high-performing team because they're able to sharpen their axe. When they come back, they're way more productive and more focused than you could ever imagine. So the other thing that you need to do before you kind of look into the calendar is you need to dream beyond where you're at right now. Like I said before, there's a lot of things that come up in your mind of like, I can't do this, I can't do that. Give yourself permission to dream, right? I'm still dreaming about what my future calendar is going to look like. If people look at my calendar like, dude, you went during a COVID year last year, you went to Maui, you went to Cabo San Lucas, you were in Japan. I had a dream year, and yet it was a year where everyone else was shut down. Now, during the main part of the shutdown, I was obviously at home, but you can create this for yourself. So dream what is possible. We have people dreaming about a second home, and then they go and create it. We have people that have put vision boards together and have prayed to God like every day to serve the people, impact the people, to be able to create this kind of life that they want, and they create it. So you ultimately need to get clear on what you want to create. Your amygdala in your midbrain will only go after the thing that you're clear about what you want. And in neuroscience, the thing that's vividly imagined is typically what gets created in the future. And they've proven this by basketball athletes that meditate on shooting free throws. They are being just as successful as people actually shooting the free throws, meditating on shooting and hitting shots just as much as people that are practicing. So just imagine that. Your brain is powerful. You have to be open to that. There's one other thing that aren't in my notes here that is important for you to know, and that is, what are your strengths, right? What are you gifted at? We use a cognitive strength analysis finder called Kolbe, Kolbe. If you do an index A analysis, it will tell you what you should be focusing on and what will create more energy for you throughout the week. Okay, this is huge. Energy management is all about productivity. It's all about getting into flow state. It will create more profitability in your business, more momentum in the long run. I would get the Kolbe Index A done from kolbe.com, Kolbe.com, and then get the Index A done, but do it on your team as well so that you can get them in the right seats on the bus. And if you can do Strengths Finder as well, that will help understand what your strengths are, what your team's strengths are. It's an investment, $100 a person on your team, $50 for the Kolbe Index A. I think it's $50 for Strengths Finders. But you will understand your strengths through those two tests. One is more personality driven, and the other one is more cognitive driven, which is the way that your natural working rhythms of what energizes you are. By understanding that, then you can start creating a super calendar that will drive massive success for you in the future. So how do my high performers start their day? They're typically starting at around 6 o'clock, even some people earlier in the morning. And they start with self-care, planning, and they have typically a morning routine. Just to give you an example of what I do, I wake up, I do the 5-minute journal, I brush my teeth. While I'm brushing my teeth, I speak life into myself. I communicate what I believe God wants to say to me that day about myself into the mirror. Obviously, I'm brushing my teeth, so I'm thinking it out. And so I'm kind of reaffirming my identity that I want to continue to have. I'll meditate and drink some water. I'll take my supplements. I like to give myself permission to be flexible with my morning rituals and routines, but they typically have morning routine. They block this out in their calendar, by the way, and they get up before their kids. Then they work out. You know, some people work out later in the day. They spend time with kids. I do this. I do this personally. I make their breakfast. I do all this till around 9:30, and then I really start to go to work at around 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I work till like noon, and then I have essentially a lunch break. So at work, this is what I typically do is I focus on my strengths. So I'm a great leader. This is typically what you'll do is you'll lead people, delegate. That's that part of what you're going to be doing in your calendar is you'll lead, you'll delegate, and then you'll focus on the things that generate revenue in your calendar and the things that bring you energy. Maybe it's creating content or closing, getting people committed to their brighter future. So that's 6 to 11, roughly. It might be working with health participants some of these days, etc. But what does the afternoon look like? 12 to 5. I've got an hour for lunch. I like to read through some news or get on the phone with some of my friends. I like going outside. Maybe I close my eyes, just get out in the sun. That's something I like to do during my lunch. And then 12 o'clock to, I stop my day at 3:30. So I take my kids to jiu-jitsu at 3:30 and we do some other things. I typically work out right at 4 o'clock. So I'll stop at 3:30. I'll play with my kids for 30 minutes, then I'll go work out. You can ultimately create your afternoon to look however you want it to look. And then I create content, I build assets, I build residual generating streams of income. A lot of our members do the same thing. They create time in their calendar to do that. They build relationships, they build their network out. They have consulting with their health participants, their patients, and they get on sales calls. So that's typically what happens from 12 to 5. Those are the different things that happen. And their evening looks like this. They work typically till 4 o'clock. Then they rest the rest of the day, right? They connect with their kids. They read, they relax. They bring their kids to bed. They hit the sauna. They take a bath, things of that nature. The reason why they're able to do that is because of what we teach in the Virtual Practice Accelerator program. We teach how to set up your virtual practice correctly. We teach how to go online as a doctor correctly so that you create more freedom for yourself and you're doing the things throughout the week that will drive more results for you. You're working in your strength. Think about this. You're working in your strength. You get energized because of what you're doing. This renders greater results, revenue, and impact in the people that you're serving. And it just creates a dream calendar and a dream life. Now, there's a lot more to calendar hacking that I could get into. But when it's all said and done, you become more productive. You become more happy. You become more fulfilled. You build your retirement calendar before you retire. That's what I ultimately want for you. I want more freedom. I want you to be able to see what we're doing as a culture. We're building this time in together. When our doctors have children, they're able to take months off to just be with their kids. But there's intentionality around that, right? There's a right way to set that up. So they're building residual income in their business, which is, again, things that we coach and train on in Health Experts Alliance. I'll just table some of the other things that this is getting to be a long video, and I hopefully you've listened to the end. There's so much more I want to talk about in respect to building a really high octane calendar, but hopefully this has added a lot of value to you. There's more than enough for you to chew on here. And what I want you to do as an action for today is simply dream up what your dream calendar will look like. My dream calendar was only to work Tuesdays and Thursdays with clients, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I could work on the business, not in the business. And we got to over 7 figures that way. So do the same thing and dream up what your dream calendar looks like, and then find the people to coach you and train you on creating your dream life that will help you get to ultimately where you want to get to. So again, thank you so much for listening. Please share this with other people that might find some inspiration in this and some ideas as to what they can do to build their dream calendars and dream lives, and look forward to adding more value to you in the future. Thanks so much.